Okay, so maybe I shouldn't be starting a stream with okay, so. But this is a public YouTube live stream, and the reason why I'm here live today is because today is my tracking going to work? Is Today is my 3rd year anniversary. Well, actually yesterday. Yesterday was my 3rd year anniversary. And I started setting up yesterday 4 or 5 hours ago. And I have run into so many issues until I was able to finally get to the point where I am streaming right now. I'm also not streaming at any kind of convenient time zone or time slot where any of my viewers are going to be notified about this and be able to watch this, because I'm pretty sure they have school. Was today's Thursday? It's Thursday now. I the intention was that because December 10th is my 3rd year anniversary, that I wanted to stream on the 10th. I tried so hard, tried so unbelievably hard to try to meet my, or did I say October? December 10th timeline where I wanted it to be today. And even if I ended up being late by 5 hours from when I wanted to start, I got there, and I think that's great. I don't want to say like, "Oh, I'm so nervous. I don't want to be doing this." I am nervous. I don't really want to show you that I'm nervous. Should I move my mic? Let's move my mic like down here. Is that better? Oh no. More than one ingestion is using the primary URL. Send one stream to the primary URL and one stream to the backup URL. I don't know what that means. Okay, let's copy this. Let's do this. Oh, can I fix this on the spot? I don't even know if it's possible to fix this on the spot. Streaming, general, recording. Help. Scream. Okay, this. Um. I hope I'm allowed to do that. So I have no idea if the stream is actually working. Open widget. Okay, we're gonna fix this on the spot. There's an error, and I don't necessarily, I don't know, I don't quite know how to fix this. Use primary URL, send one stream to the primary URL, one stream to the backup URL. I didn't even know that 2 streams are happening. I would hope that this stream is the only one that's going. Someone, if anyone shows up, they might be able to tell me. This is a fantastic 3rd year anniversary. It doesn't matter. I will persist. Okay, I'm trying to treat this as no different than I am on a Discord call with my friends. If anything, if this goes really poorly, I can just unlist everything. So I have the assurance that I know I can just eat this VOD. That's perfectly fine. Let's see if I can fix any of this. Okay, file settings. Stream ignore. Okay. I think. Okay. Let's see if I can move this one. I hope. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. This one. Okay. This is making me sweat. Let me refresh YouTube Live Studio and hope and pray and hope. Because I'm still getting error. Okay, I'm gonna turn this to private for now. Okay. I'm going to hope and pray that this one is correct. I should be sending vertical to my stream URL, server URL thingy, and that the other one is set to, hopefully it should be set to the backup. I hope. Oh, is it because I have this button on? Oh my god, I think I figured it out. Oh my god, I did have two things running at the same time. Okay. I'm gonna toss my hair. Now I know. Now I know, and I am aware of that when I am speaking, that there is currently no member of in my YouTube chat right now that I could be interacting with. So I'm really just testing my ability to see how long I can gap for and bear with this painful silence of there not being any kind of feedback for me to be bouncing off of. I feel like I'm relearning how to stream again. I feel like I used to feel more natural at this, and it surely was when there were actually people here. And so, this being my 3rd year anniversary, I'm going to, with the VOD that I am recording right now, is probably not. The stream that is being recorded right now is probably not going to be the same VOD that I'm going to upload if I upload a video version of this. I'm probably going to cut it down and I'm going to get rid of the part where I'm just talking to myself. And so right now I have the stream listed as private. I'm going to try unprivating it. I'm going to make it public right now and see if all of my issues are fixed. Because I was running into a lot of issues. I hope that I fix them. I believe now. Okay, yes, I know that there was a mistake, but that I did learn from the mistake and realized, oh, the difference between this button and why it caused an ingest overload, and why there needs to be separate stream keys, and why I'm supposed to be streaming on this key and not the other key, and whatever. I just learned that. I just learned that just now. So I'm going to move this off of private to public and hit done, hit save. I think I need to sneeze. Why would I do this to myself? Currently, the VOD is set to unlisted, or in that once the stream ends, the VOD will become unlisted. But as of right now, the stream just went from private to public. So if anyone happens to somehow find this stream of me spending my 3rd year anniversary alone, I'm not going to be alone anymore. Someone could enter my YouTube chat. Someone could leave a comment. And yeah, I can hope for people to come. There's really not a good chance because I know what hour of the day I am streaming. Yet still, there's a reason why I am streaming. I'm trying to stream and push past all of this. Nothing about this makes any logical sense. Any person who would be doing something more typical would be streaming at a more optimal hour, would be streaming with a setup where they had already set everything up days in advance. They would be streaming with a stream plan, like a content plan, an idea of what they were going to be talking about and what they were going to do months in advance. But the way that I do things is that today is my 3rd year. Yesterday was my 3rd year anniversary. It just took until 5 or 6 hours later of figuring out what the hell is going on with OBS until I could finally hit start. I could finally hit start stream, go live, record this, stream keys that, updates this. And like I finally got there. I finally got there now. And so what I wanted to talk about primarily is that I want to have this video or VOD or stream or whatever be the marking point of when my content changes, because it is fundamentally changing. We have new setups. We're doing vertical just because I am more comfortable with vertical, and I wanted to try it out. 3rd year, new year, new me, and new setup, new everything except my model. My model's the same. I think it was my 2nd year that I debuted like a brush up, which was really exciting. I liked that a lot. That was really fun. But what makes the 3rd year so important, the most boring, but also the most important, so which is why I'm still doing it, is because I'm still trying to try. And I know that is the message I want to be streaming and resonating with people, is that I'm still here to show that my existence is either still valid, or like, to me, is like, am I proving something with this? Am I just trying to make a point about how I'm not entirely sure of the point that I'm trying to make. I feel like as I keep doing this, I will find the point that I was trying to make. I feel like the point exists. Me being able to explain it isn't as easy. I need to click this, click this. Okay. Hopefully I'm more centered now, and hopefully my phone can... let me move my phone up more. Hopefully... I'm trying to get my tracking to be in a better spot. You can hear me messing with my phone. Nothing is in... Okay, reset. Nothing is perfect. There is no such thing as, for when I do something, that there's going to be a perfect. I'm gonna like always be adjusting things. I'm always going to be adapting on the fly. I'm always going to be running into problems. And then, can I still adapt, overcome these challenges? So if I was a brave person, if I was a very brave person, as brave as the person that people see me as, they would, like, that version of myself would publish this 3rd year anniversary where I am just a mess. I am learning to be okay with that as this is happening, because this is so difficult for me, because there are so many things that are so different now. I used to be someone who streamed. Today is a day where I'm still debating on... I'm at qualms with, should I even mention that kind of stuff? Oh, what was my 1st year like? Oh, what was my 2nd year like? Like, what are we looking forward to in my 3rd year? Or, I already finished my 3rd year. I didn't do much of my 3rd year. It still happened. So, I finished off, and this is my 3rd year anniversary. What is going to happen in my 4th year? So, if, say, for example, I didn't really introduce myself, did I? You know, that is completely normal for me, because most of the time I'm used to people came here because they clicked in the notification, because they were already subscribed, because they already knew who I was, and they knew why they were coming here. But I feel like there is a good chance that this is going to maybe reach an audience who doesn't know me. they like somehow found me. They're all like, wait, you're also a streamer? You're like a VTuber too? Like, we see you in other VTubers chats, and you would see that my name, you would kind of figure out and cross check with different accounts that, yeah, I am a VTuber. Hello, look, this is me doing VTubing. This is me streaming. Even if it's streamed to no one, it's still valid. It is still streaming. And for me, this is really good speaking practice. There's not really a lot of opportunities I give myself to be speaking, quote unquote, publicly. This is not just what I sound like when I talk to myself, because when I talk to myself, I'm not talking at all, because it is an internal dialogue. For me to actually be using my voice box is something I'm trying to find strength in again. I want all of this to feel normal again, or return to some kind of state of normal, or get to a place where, okay, I'm comfortable with this being my normal. Can this setup be what supports me to find that? Can what I keep doing from here, again, lead to what I want to feel is at home again? Because I feel like in my first year, things were their best. But here now, finishing off my third year, things are, I would say, not at my best. They're at my best in so many other aspects of my life, but it was because those aspects I had to put attention into that those things got better, where the quality of my streams and schedules and postings, they degraded. But I'm still trying to show now in my beginning of my fourth year. This is, even though this is a stream that marks the end of my third year and going into the first day of my fourth year, then I think it makes sense that it is 1 a.m. right now on December 11th, which is the first day beginning my fourth year. I spent pretty much the entirety of the last day of my third year to be just fixing things so that when I start my fourth year, like, I actually have something to stand on. I Doing this to me is more difficult than obviously doing nothing at all. And a lot of days I feel like I do nothing at all. I'm here to be taking a stand that I am doing something. All of this is evidence or proof that I am here. This message, even though right now I'm talking to nobody, there's going to be people in the future who can come back to this and see what I am doing is talking like this. For to return back to streaming is to talk unfiltered, unedited, completely live, at the vulnerability, at being vulnerable to things that are like errors and this, that, all these things that you might not be able to predict are like going to happen to you. It's so easy for me to like sit in someone's live, enjoy it, watch them, and then when they struggle with like how their stream is going, like, oh, this issue happens, da 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 da, we're all so patient for waiting to see how the stream will like come back online if it like went down, if there was some sort of issue that they resolve it, and then things continue, things carry on. I really respect that a lot, like the ability to be doing that like right then and there. It's very nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking to deal with, because I've been dealing with a lot of that just now on by myself. But I don't even have the pressure of like people watching me right now. Right now, it only feels like the idea of someone might be watching me. That is way scarier to me, actually. Is like thinking of that future audience that comes across this and they weren't here right when it happened. Because when there's no one here to watch this right when it happened, you're seeing the version of me who's talking like this, and I'm vulnerable to that. Whereas if there was someone here and I was talking to them, then like I would have something to go off of. And yeah, mainly this is part of me poorly planning the fact that I don't have a specific plan for my big third year anniversary or my big first day of my fourth year as a VTuber, specifically a VTuber. The concept of me being a VTuber began 3 years ago and a day. And since then, things have been very up, very down. There are a lot of parts of my life I'd talk about if I was focusing on the positive, is that there are so many more like friendships and relationships and communities that I feel like I'm surrounding myself with or I am a part of and get to enjoy way more than I had 3 years ago. But that is not the same thing as what you're seeing right now in this stream. So I can appreciate all of those things. And it's so easy for me to engage in those things every day because that's already easy. I already did the hard part and then now it's easy. I get to enjoy it. What's so difficult and almost feels insurmountable, but I'm still trying, is can I pick up from these ashes? Like everything felt like it crumbled, like in terms of like, oh, well, you had more viewers when you were streaming at the beginning. Now you have like nobody here. I want this to be like 3 years ago when I started from rock bottom. Actually, it wasn't even rock bottom. My VTuber career was, gosh, this is hard to explain. There's different kinds of rock bottoms I've had. Emotionally, I was at my deepest rock bottom and it felt the hardest to live, carry on, even like feel like I could breathe. And that was 3 years ago. And I feel like, oh, ever since I processed a lot of the trauma that happened, I now feel so much better from since then. I still talk about it all the time and I still feel hurt. And yes, it was, what is the word they say? Irreversible? I think the word was irreversible. I was trying to remember a specific word from in a song. And in that song, it felt like it perfectly described the journey that I've been through. Hell, even like there's a non-zero chance that the person who wrote that song, maybe they even come to this stream the VOD, way later, years into the future. And they're like, wow. They get to witness this act of bravery. Things that are so different from what their own life is. What their state of life was when they wrote that song, what happened published, what happened after when it was already released. And then they get to the point where they see this. That's a possibility. That makes me nervous. A lot of things make me nervous. It's this, what I call fear, FEAR's feeling. Oh, do I even remember? Fear is experiencing and something reality, something an experiencing an anticipated reality. Fear, FEAR, where fear, F, the F in fear is the word fear. Fear is experiencing an anticipated reality. That is something, even though at times I forget how it's even said, I know it internally. I always come back to this internally. Why do I feel scared? It's because I'm thinking about a thing that doesn't exist. If I forget about that, then I'm not scared. It's kind of like when you have test anxiety. It's all like you think about how bad the test is going to be, so it feels, you already start feeling it. You aren't even taking the test yet, and it's like 2 days before the exam, and you just start feeling how bad, how hard the exam is going to be. It's not actually bad until you go in and do it. And then if you were in the exam room, you do it, you might realize that it's not actually as bad as you thought. And why did you suffer for all of that part where you were thinking about how bad it was? when that might not even be the case. I think a lot of people do that. They jump into this state where they're just expecting this thing to happen, and then they get nervous about it. They get anxious about this thing. It was to- it was totally unnecessary in the grand scheme. Like once you're able to see retrospectively, and the more times you can see this retrospectively, you can see that, oh, I didn't really need to be thinking that way at all. And the thing is that that is a biological response. It tries to keep you safe by doing that. If you fear something, you can avoid it. But what if you're not supposed to avoid it? Like, I fear this thing, but my main point is I'm really not trying to avoid this. I know that, like, what, 2 years ago, I set a goal that if in 3 years I'm still doing this, that no matter what, I'm going to stream despite all odds against me. I did it. This is it. This is me streaming. I can't believe it's only been 20 minutes. How is this even possible? It feels like I've been talking for an hour. Okay, well, now is a good time where I'm just going to try to reset. I want this model to feel like it's looking in the right direction. I wish there was like more light in my room. Maybe that might help. Is there... Okay, I'm gonna go into my settings and change I'm gonna break something. I know every time I click on something, something breaks. But let's hope. Let's do this. And why not do this? Close this. And I hope that maybe I'm really trying to fix my mouth tracking. That's always been like the biggest issue. Because like for some reason before I click streaming, it's fine. It works. It's supposed to be a combination of the camera picking up my mouth movements and hybridization with the microphone picking up sounds, and that if I make a certain sound, it should track a certain shape. And it's hybridizing those two blend shapes so that if my mouth is open and that it's also hearing sound, it should be picking up that this is the way that my model moves its mouth when I am speaking, when the camera sees that my model is moving and speaking, when my microphone is sending information, and maybe my graphics card like knows what's up. And every day I'm just gonna hard pivot. What has my life been? I'm trying to think of like, oh, what's the most important thing I should be saying right now while I have this. Like I've already got the ball rolling, right? I've been doing this for 20 minutes now, 22 minutes, and and I know that 10 years ago I had terrible stage fright. I can't believe I'm doing this. 10 years ago would have never expected me 10 years from now to be doing this. But yesterday, I knew that this was possible and that I could do it even if it was difficult. It is difficult. I think that the version of me 10 years ago would have found this to be impossible. I didn't even want to give a classroom presentation because I would freeze up. I would freeze up similar to the ways that I'm freezing up now. However, I know so much more about, not perfect, but like know more about recovering from those pauses when I speak. The pauses are not bad. If you think of yourself and getting stuck on like, oh, these pauses are bad, you're not focusing on how to get back on track, how to find yourself again and start again. I'm trying to incorporate all the other things that I've been learning, either these past 10 years or even just the past 3 years of like, specifically the past 3, 4 something years I've been in the VTuber space, whether it was as a fan or as a VTuber myself. I've learned a lot of things from people, a lot of people who would be telling me things like, oh, don't put yourself down, or you should treat people like people. That one I particularly know myself, but you could be reminded of that again, or you can learn what that's like from another angle. What's it like for me to treat a VTuber as a person? What's it like for people who treat me as a person when they see that I am a VTuber? Through and through. So I have a Twitter account, and that one is like my most main active thing that I run in terms of like, oh, this personality operates this account. It's mostly me. And then next to that would be how I interact on YouTube, but in livers chats. So those two things combined make up a lot of what I do day to day in terms of what is this character that I'm presenting myself as on the internet. And I fully believe in myself that yes, I am a VTuber. It doesn't quite show, and this is what I was really insecure about and I'm trying to get over, is that on my main TikTok page, I don't post about the things where I like clip live streams and post that I am a VTuber on this account on my TikTok. My TikTok is kind of just like a running mess of like what things were like when I started being in the TikTok space, like I don't know, maybe 2019 or something like that. It was because of COVID. I told myself, "Oh, I'm going to challenge myself to run a TikTok account." And that actually went well. I was actually much more capable of doing that because it was things like pictures and short videos, short commentary, and small editing and captioning and posting, that sort of thing. And it's so much easier to do a recording where you can choose to cut out what you want, and there's so much relief in that you can present yourself that way, that is a more curated version of yourself, and be able to post that, and you're limited to about 1, 2, 3 minutes. Back then it was only like 60 seconds, 2 minutes, something like that. It was mind-boggling the first time someone was allowed to post 5 minutes, and that was years after Snap or like TikTok came out. And I'm gonna take a small sip of water. And so in my fourth year, the direction that I am taking this is that I'm going to be posting more. I already started to begin posting more on my TikTok channel. I've already begun to put everything in motion of priming myself as a person to be the kind of person who can become someone who's posting these things. That I don't know if that sentence quite makes sense. The feeling of it inside of me is there. The words to say it, not quite there. I'm again being okay with that, accepting that that's where I am right now, is that I'm not the best speaker. I've lost the ability to speak as well. The more I tell myself that I lost this ability, it becomes more true. So I don't really actually want to be reinforcing it. What I am supposed to be focusing on is the actual act of getting better and reinforcing all the things that are positive, where I maybe congratulate or appreciate myself when I did it right. I don't dwell on when I did it wrong. And so let's go over a little bit of the beginning. When I first joined TikTok, if I'm just going to recap everything from the beginning, what started on TikTok is, and I'll be able to explain, what are the shortcomings. Now that I'm able to look back on this, I would have never been able to see this at the time, but 3, 4, whatever years later of when I started my TikTok, which is not the same as when I started being a VTuber, when I just started to do things on TikTok, and this was the beginning or height of the pandemic, where I decided, hey, I'm going to try something new, which eventually led to me being a VTuber at some point, is because TikTok allowed me to have this platform where I post videos, which is different from when I ran an Instagram. Instagram, I started way sooner than that because it came out sooner, obviously. I posted photos and art and those kinds of things. But then I pushed myself to make short videos, and that did get up to around 4,000 followers on TikTok, and that to me is no joke. I did put in that effort. Once I surpassed 1,000 followers, you gain the ability to live stream from your mobile device. And when you have that option, I was streaming me drawing art. At the time, this was not when I had the main growth of myself as a streamer. This again was still the beginning ages of like me kind of just coming up in this world. If I were to put everything in review of like how this feels to me now, being able to look on what happened then, what exists on my channel, that you can, if you scroll all the way down on my TikTok page, you would see I posted, like, I would even stream, take the VOD, cut it, and edit, and even post some of those things as videos. And, there was a cyclical loop of streaming, editing, drawing, streaming, editing, uploading. There were more people who were seeing that, came to my channel, and they hit subscribe or follow or like and comment, and I would see those things. I'm still that person who is deserving of everything that everyone has ever said, because mostly they said nice things, because I do know that I am a positive influence on the people around me. I know that today, I knew that then, I knew that I will always know that forever. That primarily I have been a good influence. That has always been this goal that I had. Why am I putting myself out there in this way that's interactive? Is that I want to show people this positive influence that I can have. When people did become influenced by me, they would be saying things like, oh, well, we're really happy that you're here. They feel like better people after having met me. They've grown to become better people because of things that I taught them. And so, I'm coming up in this creator world at the intensity or velocity or upward momentum in a direction that after 3,000, what happened was I bought a webcam. This is important because I would then want to stream games, because I got into Project Sekai, and that's important. It's very difficult to like pick out the exact order of everything, but I know at some point when you surpass 3,000, okay, they after 1,000, and I was already past 1,000 at some point, I was able to do a mobile screen sharing kind of video game thing, and I was successful in doing that, in that I would do a screen share. I didn't have Facecam. I had to forego Facecam to play Project Sekai, stream that in screen share mode, and I really enjoyed that, and I picked up a lot of momentum like that, having 30 to 60 to even 200 viewers watching me play Project Sekai, playing Project Sekai with me, and that really motivated me a lot. And okay, I don't necessarily trust that number. Okay, I am looking at my YouTube dashboard and it says that there is one concurrent viewer, which means someone came into this stream. Make yourself known. Say hi if you're still here. Okay, I feel very nervous talking to myself. If there's anybody who can relieve 2 concurrent viewers, who are these people? Who are you people? Are you people who are new, or are people who already know me? Because that is a world of difference. Okay, so if I was Okay, try not to look at the number, but if I were to continue with what I was talking about, is that in my whatever year of content creation at this point, and when the algorithm picked up that I was associated to being a gaming channel, I was an art channel, and I had a 50-50 split gender ratio, if we're just boiling it down to binary. But, how the records show, they're all like, oh, well, your viewers are 50% female and 50% male. That was my streaming analytics, or not streaming. It was my page's analytics before I was streaming, just posting art and stuff. They showed me I had a 50-50 split. After I started gaming and after, people could hear my voice and, get dropped into my lives and meet me like doing this activity, and a lot of people, the viewership changed by a lot, and they could probably tell more about my personality. And what I realized was that I hard shifted my demographics, and it became a 97, maybe close to around 97 female to 3% male ratio, or somewhere between 3 to 10% male and 90 to 97% female, which I was really proud of that. Just someone who posted time lapses, like I wasn't really talking. I just posted time lapses of a lot of the art that I did and those videos, those edits and whatever, and it was a dead even split 50-50. It's like no matter what I was doing, it was 50-50. It was when I was streaming and playing games and those types of things and the like, is that's when I saw what kind of demographic I had, who were the kinds of people that were in my stream. It was this such percentage amount is of this age, this such percentage of whatever amount is a female demographic, and other. I don't want to be super disrespectful, but if you know me, you know me. So I don't want to go into explaining that kind of thing, because I am not the kind of person who goes into explaining that kind of thing. To continue on from what I was talking about, is that one of the biggest advancements in ability to stream is that once the streaming platform and the algorithm were able to understand I was associated with like followings of this size, like in this category, have like blah blah blah, you're like on this top percentage of like more viewers than people of the same size of your like following, and then blah 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 blah. And that also gave me a lot of encouragement. I was all like, oh, I feel like I'm doing well. Oh, like I'm in the blah 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 percentile of, you know, and with each stream, people were clicking follow, people were leaving lots of likes, people were battling how many likes that they can give me on TikTok. That was awesome. I love those days. That's different from how YouTube operates, and I'm streaming on YouTube right now, not streaming on TikTok. And there's a reason why I'm not streaming on TikTok as a VTuber model. It's just really not possible. But at the beginning, it was possible. I was like, oh my god, after blah blah blah, I then gained the ability and access to stream on TikTok with TikTok Live Studio. And I set up my model, and I did this blah blah blah, OBS blah blah blah, all this, all that, all that. I was like, oh my god, this is really fun. Like, I had my model, I had my tracking, I had chat, I had this and that, and of course I ran into issues. But that's, to me, peak career of me. Like, oh, I was streaming this often, and like I criticize myself now because like, oh, now I don't stream as often. And then it reflects in the algorithm and all the numbers and all how things shake out. It's all like, oh, well, that feels discouraging because it's not the same anymore. But if I'm going to reminisce on like the glory days, using today as an opportunity to like go back and think about this, is because most days I don't, but today it's important that I do. And that when I finally gained that ability, it really felt like I had more of a presence like this feels real, like this persona under this name, Cygnus Sono Lumen, the celestial swan of sound and light, dare I say the infamous swan, infamous celestial swan of sound and light. And I have really tried so hard to define what that name means online in so many different spaces, in the cosplay space, in the VTuber space, in the TikTok platform, in the YouTube platform, in like everywhere that I was leaving a trace of like, oh, on YouTube when I'm watching other people and I'm interacting in their lives, how do those people interact with me and how do I become perceived? I maintained a very curated image of this is this person. When you see this name, this happens. And sometimes it feels like magic. When I talk to the other people who know me now and they know where I am, they know where to find me, they know what I will do if this such and such thing happens, and they enjoy it a lot. So, being around my influence does that. But I have a very small spark, but it catches a lot of fire. But I myself am small. I know that, but that does not mean I'm not powerful. I know that. And I know that mostly because of like biological reactions and catalysts. I like to think of myself as Cygnus the catalyst, someone who sparks a change. And the reason why I chose this name is that Cygnus is the swan constellation, and swans are very important to me. If you know my personality, you know I am like a swan. I'm not the same as when people say, "Oh, they are like a dog, they are like a cat." Some people are like a bird, but how many people do you know are like a swan? There are the white swans, there are the black swans, some people who are both. And so, for me, mostly, you don't see it in my VTuber model, but I act more like a black swan. And if you ever saw me in person, the way that I cosplay, oh, that definitely looks like it. And there's this dichotomy between what do I look like when I cosplay and the image you see on my VTuber model. You know, this look right here is more of like celestial and not quite goddess. It's not a goddess outfit, but definitely celestial because I want to look like you are looking up at the sky and you seek guidance from the constellation. That's my constellation. That was part of the concept of like when I came up with this character. Right now, I'm not embodying, well, I am embodying the character of a person who's describing their own character of like, who is me? Who is me? Right? Me. This channel, this space, this moment right now, who is me? And that's what this video is. This is what me rambling on and on about is like, okay, those who are seeing this, those who are here, they're like, oh, this is who this person is. Just by the way that they talk and by the way that they carry themselves. This is me. And I see a silly little number on the screen in the bottom right corner over there. It is a number that I'm trying so hard not to look at because it's very obvious when I look at it and I'm all like, oh, now it feels like no one's here. And like, oh my God, somebody's here. And I keep flipping back and forth between, oh my God, someone's right here looking at me. And then when I noticed that, oh, the number went down and now nobody's here, nobody's looking at me, it is anxiety flip back and forth from one anxiety to another anxiety of, oh, do I look like a fool because no one's here? And oh my God, there's people here. Do I look like a fool? If I were to continue from what I was talking about before, is that okay? We are in the point in the story where I was talking about how, okay, I am a VTuber and a cosplayer and etc. and a personality online, mainly an online personality. Today is me trying to prove a point that I have a proper setup, I have a proper model. There are people who do know me and care about that I do post. I want to kind of avoid the term audience. Kind of feels like it implies that there's a lot of people. Is it still an audience if it's like 1, 2, 5 people? Yes, no, yes. Um, but we have progressed so far in these 3 years of this for this day of my 4th year where I'm speaking on my 3 years of having been this name. Like, what have I learned from all of this? What does it feel like now? It's there's so many, if I want to label it as goods and bads, there have been so many goods, so many bads. It's like even the good things, I either do enjoy them or don't enjoy them. So are they still even goods? When if you What if you receive something good but feel bad about it? Then it doesn't even feel good. But I know it's supposed to be good. It's all like, oh, well, if you receive attention, it kind of feels good. But if you receive mockery, it's bad. What if you receive criticism over being seen and having appearances and having judgments? Oh, so many judgments. And a lot of those don't even feel as bad as the judgments I give myself. Like oh, I'm not valid, versus the times when I'm like, I am valid. I am doing this. I am doing the thing. But on days I am not doing the thing, I now invalidate myself as, I am not the thing. How can I keep claiming that I am the thing if I don't do the thing? But I've done the thing in the past. I've done it a lot and I did it well. To a degree. To some people, I did well. If you were an individual and you saw what I did, and you were in your stage of life where you saw me and you're like, wow, I do like this person. I want to, if I were to pull up my references, right? This, those things that people have told me keep me going, because I'm like, you did say that, you did mean it, or else you wouldn't say it. And they would say things like, oh, I never want to miss any of your lives. I was like, oh, there was a time when things were like that. I appreciate that for those things that those people said when I still had that. I still had like the platform as it was then in those days. People were saying things like, when I see the live notification, they click immediately. People would say, oh, you look so good today. I was like, I have a VTuber model. They're all like, oh, we know, but we know you look good today. I was like, oh, well, then that means I guess I look good every day. And that's a huge confidence boost. The kind of confidence I didn't have in myself, but it took another person to tell me. And then I recognized I have that confidence. Now that they have said it, that will always be true. Like, that they have said it. There is truth in that it was said. It can't be unsaid. Kind of like the whole, if a tree falls down in a forest, a tree fell down in the forest. Doesn't matter if anyone was there to see it or not, but it did fall. That is a thing that existed in a certain time, whether or not, there was someone to see and perceive that. And I drink water. I do silly things. I do silly things like I put on makeup even if no one's gonna see it. But I know that the way that I feel in it, it can make me feel really good. And the way that I speak, oh, well, I feel so much more chipper today. And, you know, makeup could give me that kind of confidence, is because I chose to put effort in myself, because I know that the act of this makes me feel beautiful. Because I also have it felt like I was using my ability to perform a thing, and it produced a result, and the result was desirable. And that made me feel better about myself, because it made me feel that I was capable, made me feel like I was capable. And that's what made me feel like, oh, I feel like a human today that was productive, or feels like they are really, it's like, oh, did I feel human? Everyone is a human. Every human is a human. No human should ever think that they're not a human. No human should ever think that they're less than another human. That's where a lot of suffering can lie. I don't know if I want to be preaching about this, but like, this is something I genuinely believe in, is that once you start seeing yourself as compared to others and less than them, you are going to put yourself in this suffering. I wish I could define suffering better for you. You definitely know what it feels like when you're suffering. It's that feeling, that suffering feeling is suffering. You can identify it within yourself. And how it happens for me most of the time, when is it that I am suffering? It's when I put myself in an impossible situation that cannot be overcome. I suffer from when I expect too much that can't be done, and especially if it is some sort of impossible thing, right? Like, what if I made a mistake and somebody doesn't forgive me, and I'm always expecting I can, make it up somehow? But what if in their world, they're never going to give me some kind of apology? If you always keep trying to chase that apology, you are on the path of suffering, because it is a path that cannot be crossed. You can't get to the end of that path, so it's forever a length of suffering, because you can never achieve the goal that you go down the path thinking there's this goal that if I try hard enough, I will be able to get my apology. However, the condition to end that path of, like, when you reach the end, is that you did do something enough that got your apology, like, you apologize to them and they no longer hate you. You're all like, oh, in an ideal world, I want to fix this thing, like a mistake that I made. And what if in their life they are already dead set, and I need to come to the realization that uh acceptance, not apology. Okay, so their acceptance of what happened is never going to come. So find where that kind of stuff is in your life. I know about that kind of thing, so I can identify it. So when I'm in that, I'm all like, oh, ooh, that's suffering. Where are those things where you are expecting something so unrealistic that you have to recognize when something is just never going to happen? People see this quite often when it's like things like relationships. It's all like, you hurt another person and that person doesn't forgive you. You try so hard to get them to forgive you because you are so selfish that you want to keep doing things that you can do to receive the thing that's going to gratify you, when really the best chance you have with repairing that relationship is actually to not try doing those kinds of things. Sometimes it's, and don't misconstrue this, if this doesn't work for your situation, it might not actually work for your situation, but my point is that when that other person, you tried to offer like all this, like, you do something and they're like, please forgive me, and but they're in their state is that they're all like, we're not going to forgive you ever. And the more you try to get us to forgive you, it's going to push us away further and make us feel more animosity towards you. See that when you try to do something that you think is going to fix the situation, you don't recognize you are making things worse. I don't necessarily know if this is the rest of the conversation I want to keep having, but you get, that is typically my main example of when I say, oh, that's what suffering is that you did that. You think you're trying to do something that's going to make something better. It's producing a result that is both A, unobtainable, and B, the longer you're doing it actually makes yourself and that person and others and whoever's involved, it feels like it hurts more. Oh my gosh. I can hear my stomach rumbling. I set up my mic so that you can hear a lot of sounds, and that means if my tummy growls, oh, you're gonna hear it. And if I go back to the VOD at 5330 somewhere around there, that you could probably hear like a because that's what it sounded like to me. Okay, I'm gonna sit up a wee smidge bit straighter in my creaky chair. And so basically, we are almost 1 hour into the stream. I used to stream for 3 to 5 hours, which is quite a lot. And for me, at least, for how much time in the day can I spend doing that? And now it feels so difficult to even finish 1 hour. If I was being honest, yeah. Yeah, it used to be so easy to like, oh, go for 3 hours, oh my god, and like I would ask people like, hey, tell me to get off in 3 hours, and I actually would end up running for 4 hours. It was so easy to do that. But, you know, it was the audience, the members of chat, the people of my community that did half of the speaking. And it really, I'm pretty sure it is universally agreed upon that having a chat, that when you are streaming, that things go really smoothly most of the time. More smoothly in terms of like being able to communicate something, some idea, communicate something if it's like you're having a conversation with them. Mm-hmm. So this doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just clicking record. This is me recording or me going live and it's being recorded. There it feels very different doing it that way. Because like here it really feels like, well, there's always that chance of like someone comes in and they chat. I am allowing myself to sit with being uncomfortable because I do value that when there is a person here, I love talking to them. They have like really nice things to say, which is like what I was talking about earlier, is that if we were going to go back over to, you know, what happened on my TikTok channel when I was streaming there, is what were the things that people told me back then, which still apply to today. Whether or not it's still being said, I'm pretty sure that like the sentiments of what they were expressing are still true from since then. From things when they said things like, oh darn, like I didn't see that you were live, I feel blah blah blah. Or they're like, oh my god, Sai, long time no see. And that was for one of two reasons. They have not showed up in a long time because they couldn't, or I haven't shown up to stream in a long time because I couldn't. And so I was always super happy. I was like, oh my god, you're here. I know that you might make it like, there were people who would show up 2 times in a year, but I remembered them because they would start talking about like, oh yeah, the last stream I was in 6 months ago was like, oh, we were doing this. I was like, I do remember that stream. It's like I didn't even think about that kind of thing. Like they have that memory of like being in that stream, and I didn't go back to thinking about that until they brought it up. And if I were to remember more of those kinds of things that people said, there other things, as I was streaming on TikTok, they would be like, oh, we like it when you sing. I'm not anywhere near a professional singer. We know that. But to know that people were saying that they liked the way that I sing, it, or even because they were part of the Project Sekai community and they were like, oh my god, you could sound like a Vocaloid. And I told them, oh, that's technically possible. If you sample my voice and then turn it into a Vocaloid, you could make me into a Vocaloid. That's a real thing. But the best that we really had was I was playing Project Sekai, and I would like to sing along. But then they would tell me like, "Oh, well, we like being in these streams because it sounds really nice when you sing along to the songs in Project Sekai, even if it is just singing the instrumentals, because I do not know the words, because most of these songs are in Japanese, and I only know like one Japanese song by heart. And I love that song. I love being able to sing that at karaoke in the right room. If I know what kind of crowd is in a room for karaoke, I will decide if I want to sing that song. If it is the right crowd, I will sing that song, because I'm only going to do it if it's going to make everyone feel good, including myself. I feel good performing in it, and I have confidence knowing in when I sing it, those people are going to like it. I like that. I do. So, carrying on with, oh, well, what happened if things were kind of going great? You know, you had the people showing up consistently, you had the people who were returning, and you had the people who were becoming new subscribers right then and there, or followers or whoever. And then when you stream again, you see them come back the next day. They would say things like, "Oh, I never want to miss your lives." They're all like, "Oh, I want to see you like next time. Looking forward to your next stream." They would even like message me on TikTok or Instagram about like, "Oh, what did they think about the stream?" Stuff like that. I was all like, "Oh yeah." I haven't even thought about that since I just brought it up just now. Oh, my tummy. I'm really hungry. I have now officially crossed the 1 hour threshold. I did it. I did at least. If I were to aim, let's try to keep this 2 hours. So this stream has been going on for exactly an hour, and the goal is, can I keep yapping and celebrating my 3rd year anniversary as a YouTuber all the way up until 2 hours? That's the goal I'm setting myself for, is that I'm looking at the clock and I have another hour to go. There are other people who are like, oh yeah, I can do 8 hours, no problem. They're doing an activity that takes 8 hours, and they might even continue for more if they didn't have to sleep. For me, I'm strictly doing this, and this is a thing that's very challenging. And to put myself through this for 2 hours, it is making me feel something. It is me relentlessly facing the feeling of, wow, this is hard. Oh my god. And I'm being vulnerable in that. It's like exposure therapy, right? Like, this is a thing that you think feels kind of dangerous, or like you fear it, and you you want to avoid it. And I'm trying to be that example of like, I'm taking on this head on. I don't want to avoid it if it's something that just seems difficult or I seem scared of it. This is me being the example of, hey, I'm trying to face this difficult thing. This is like me trying to change an aspect of my life where, you know, there's this thing I feel upset over. The only way to change this thing that feels upsetting is that I do something about it. But I can't do something about it if I keep avoiding it. I was upset about how my setup didn't work. I didn't avoid it. I fixed it. And I'm streaming. It took 8 hours of fixing, 5 hours of fixing, but I did it. I got here. I'm really proud of that. Pat myself on the back. And I want to be able to end this stream and go to bed thinking that, like, wow, this feels successful. It feels like, oh, I set out to do a thing and I did it, I achieved it, and I didn't. But the achievement is not getting to the 2 hours. The achievement is, do I feel better now? Like, I'm working through my anxiety on the spot. Where I started at the beginning of the stream already feels different from where I am now in the stream. It usually takes me about like, 30 minutes to kind of feel like I'm in the groove, right? It's all like, oh, well, now it feels natural after I've warmed up. So I feel like starting a stream, if you are on that journey of where you're starting, it's going to feel really difficult. But you're watching me do this now. Like, for anyone who is watching or seeing this later, You're like, oh wow, they were able to push through this. Like, it feels difficult to them, and they're watching me and witnessing or experiencing that I am going through this experience. I want that to be able to resonate with other people who are trying to do the same. Because who knows what kind of results I'm going to produce. I'm not going to wake up the next day with 100 million bajillion followers. That's not my goal. My goal is for any one person who can hear me speak, do you find the courage in your life to try and face something difficult? Because with how things are today, there's a lot of people avoiding the difficult. There's people not learning. There's people not drawing. I won't say exactly the specific two letters I'm referring to, but back when I used to stream during those days, we never really heard about those two-letter words. Things were way different then when you could learn and do things on your own. Oh man, I wish I could go back to those days where things were in a way that you knew that you had to push yourself. Like, you had no other choice than to push yourself through that. Now, today, you have an option to cheat, but you not only cheat and get something done, you cheat yourself out of the experience of learning. It is so much more useful to learn the thing you need to know and know enough about how that cheat is very inaccurate and can be inaccurate. We know about hallucinations, we know about all that stuff. And so, why do I even have this earpiece in? The audio monitoring is not even turned on. I use those earbuds for when I have audio monitoring, and now I can actually hear out of both of my ears. Hoorah. It felt like I was kind of feeling like I was chained down, but that's not that's not how I want to be feeling, right? Like, oh, break free. And it could be something as simple as an act of, oh, well, if I take out my earbuds, it actually feels like I am more. I don't even know the word. You get the idea. I It's 1:56 a.m., but I'm still proud of myself for, hey, I'm sticking it through. I want to be able to pass down to the next generation is that you are supposed to try hard and learn stuff. If you don't try and you don't learn, oh, you're going to be taken advantage of. hmm I don't want that to happen to you. Not while I know that this is happening. I was all like, oh, well, with what I know and with what I do with my life and with how I interact and have influence over people, whether or not this, it could just be you. It could just be you, one viewer, right? You're here. You didn't swipe away. You can swipe away. I'm not stopping you. But if you are here and you're listening to this, you're like, oh wow, this like person seems like they're speaking reasonably. And so the reasonable thing that I'm trying to tell you is that you need to face the thing that feels hard. If you can identify that this is something you're scared of, that is the very thing that you are supposed to mitigate. Like, if there is a problem, this is the thing that you need to be able to grow, solve, overcome, and move on to the next. And so, I am not the kind of personality that everybody is going to like. I know I've pushed away a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are like, oh wow, I really like who you are and they want to get to know me more. And they probably met the side of me that like is so much more reasonable. There are people who are like, oh my god, you're crazy and weird and we don't like that. They would actively tell me like, oh, what are all the things that are wrong with me? They want to have opinions and judgments and negative things to say, labels. And I do not want that to be the thing that I focus on, and I do not want that to be the thing that shapes me. I want to always be focusing on, okay, what are actually my things, my areas of life that I need to improve on? How do I improve on them? What are things that I should be doing? When I do those things, does it look like it's helping? Does it look like I am building a better life for myself? Am I becoming a better person? Am I developing new skills? I care about those things. Like everyone, regardless of if you're here or not to hear this, but this is something that's just always true for everybody, is that you should be learning skills and you should understand the value of what it means for you to know a skill. And there's going to be a lot of skills you learn when you're younger. You're like, oh, why am I learning this? And then 10, 20 years down the line, you're like, oh, wow, that was actually really powerful, useful, helpful. But it comes from the culmination of a lot of things you learned before. And so there's a lot of things I've reflected on more intently when it comes to what are the things I learned in the past few years, specifically when I took on an identity to be a VTuber, and when I took on like I took effort and time into creating like persona and accounts and following, but I don't want to see it the same way as like, oh my god, these are my followers, hee hee ha ha. It's okay if you do and that's your thing. For me, like that's not how my platform is that I am speaking my truth, and that if you happen to hear or be able to interact with me, then you will take away something from this. And I want what you are taking away from this to be something that improves your life. And if it's something that's all like, oh, that's total BS, just leave, right? I'm gonna be like real truthfully honest, very honest about like, hey, if this is not helping, leave. If this is helping, it is your choice to stay, but you don't have to. I just strongly urge you that you keep in mind for your life, where are you headed? What are you doing? Do you want to be heading in that direction? If what you're doing while trying to head in a direction is taking you in an opposite direction, then do you course correct, or and like still try to go down the path you wanted to go down, or are you realizing instead, oh, this way is actually better for me, so I'm going to go down this way? So for me, it's like I never had a hard set path of like it has to be this. For me, it's all like if I discover something where, oh, it's going well and I like this, I would do more of that. It sucked when that was taken away from me. There's a lot of times in life where that's going to be happening to you, where it's all like, oh, you have this thing that you are doing and you've built it up a lot. There is going to be those sudden oopsies like in life. Life causes an oopsie and you're like, oh no. And it can lead to a lot of your pain and suffering because you then want to reach for that life you had back. But the world is now in a place that that's no longer attainable. So you're in that state of suffering again if you are trying to go back to what normal was before for you. If you recognize that that normal is never going to come back and you recognize that sooner, you get over your loss and you find something new. It's like if something is lost and lost for good, move on. Move on, and the faster you move on, the faster you're going to get to a place where you're like, oh my god, I like this. It took me a long time during those 3 years, but this was not, it was part of my goal, but not my goal as like a content creator, but it was my goal as a person, is that in this parallel journey between who this VTuber is and who I am as a person, the person of me who is like doing growing, it took so long for me to get over, primarily over this like really incredible pain, very incredible, not creditable pain. And people are going to know what that is. If you know what I'm referring to, you know what I'm referring to. If you're new, I'm sorry, I don't think today's the day I'm going to explain it, unless I do in like 30 minutes maybe get into the part where I explain it. But that kind of explanation comes from, you got to ask me a question and then I can fill you in on what you don't know. It would take me like 4 hours, and I'm not going to continue on for 4 hours if I was going to tell you every single thing from that start to finish of like, oh, what is this thing that I had to get over? I received a lot of criticism from People who are like, oh, how come you didn't get over it? You keep talking about it. That really pissed me off. I was like, don't I get to have this? And I know that everyone has their own pace and journey about like, if you were traumatized by something, it is your path and your growth to have. Your path to choose how you're getting better, like in a state of where your life feels better, where you are no longer being impacted by that trauma as much. And, it is valid the way that you do it, and it is invalid how people try to invalidate our ways that are us trying to feel valid. That is the kind of sentence, and those are the kinds of things I want to be saying on my platform. It feels good for me to know that I'm saying this. This is gonna go up on the internet later, and there is a much higher than zero chance of someone's gonna see this after. It's only 2 hours long too. The VOD length I'm aiming for is 2 hours, and so someone can like come to my channel. They stumbled here, or they were directed here, or they knew of who I was, and they came here on their own volition, and they are like, "Oh my God, there's like this new video." They're like, "Whoa, Sai is back. What kind of video did they post today?" And they're all like, "Whoa, this took a serious turn." Or, what is this message that when they click on this, they're gonna hear me talk about this, right? What is this message that I'm laying out for you? Many messages that I'm laying out for you for 2 hours. That is this what me feeling like this that I am doing it for right now. I can say, yeah, this feels right. That wasn't spoken with 100% confidence. And I am not someone who is 100% confident in anything, because I know that realistically there are times when you are like, okay, that is something I'm not confident in. But you should be aware of what you're not confident in. Be aware of what you are confident in. And when you know you're not confident in something, but you want to be confident, that's going to take work in many capacities to get to a place where it's all like, oh, I'm confident in this subject. I know how to talk about it. I never want to be the kind of person where like, oh, I can't engage with a certain thing because, oh, my confidence is holding me back from engaging in this thing. I want to get to a point in my life where I'm now confident enough to be able to engage in that thing with other people, or else I feel isolated. Not a lot of people are going to like reach out to you and include you until you are someone who's able to step into a space. Recognize what our spaces, recognize what our communities, recognize that when you are there, you have a presence. I know that I have a presence. I know that when I'm actively choosing to go to those spaces, I'm all like, okay, well, there's a bunch of people here that perceive me, and what are they gonna learn about me? I care about that they have an impression of me. So when I care about what I do because it's going to leave an impression on them, or they are going to form an impression of me based on these things that I do. And I want to be most of the time very careful about that, because there have been times when I wasn't careful about that, and I'm pretty sure there are times in your life that you haven't been careful about that, and it led to unfortunate things. And that be the case for a lot of stuff. But having learned from all of those kinds of mistakes, I've gotten into a place where I'm all like way more mindful about that thing. And it's important for me to stress that you should be mindful of those kinds of things. A lot of people think that they're speaking into a void, and a lot of times there are voids. I'm speaking into a void right now, but I know that this is a void where in a later time, someone is going to see this and understand, and I understand that they are forming an impression of me right now. Sorry if my model freaks out. Like I'm drinking from a water bottle. You should stay hydrated. If you haven't ate, drank, or slept, you should drink water, eat food, and sleep if you have to. The VOD will be there. I'll make sure that the VOD goes up after this stream ends. I know that what I am appreciative is that with how I have things set up, and I did a lot of like audio tests and this and that and all these like, oh, filters, blah 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 blah, that I believe that the recording of this is going to go well. Because there have been times where I'm like, I thought I was confident. I I was indeed confident, but I was a bit of a fool that I was not knowledgeable about a certain thing that I was performing. And it was like, oh, there were times when I didn't care as much about streaming and I care more about, oh, this other aspect of it. But that when it came to the technicalities of all the digital and fancy sound engineering and all that stuff, it's all like, oh, I've had streams and VODs where the audio is completely jacked up. But like I didn't feel as bad about it as I would now if if I mess this up now, I'd be kind of pissed at myself a little bit about like, oh, I should know better than this. I am getting to a point where I'm a wee bit sleepy. I have 40 more minutes to go. And this is me pushing myself in a challenge. If for some reason you decide to skip an hour and 20 minutes into this video and just get to the point where I'm talking about this, maybe that's a possibility. That could be something that's happening. And so I want to reiterate that hi, I'm Cygnus Lumen, the infamous celestial swan of sound and light. And I hope I get to the point in my life where that I don't forget that. Sometimes I stutter, and I don't want to be someone who, when I give an introduction, it's not as confident. I want it to be as confident as it can be. That comes from, well, I gotta say it, I gotta practice it. And in the case where people ask me about, oh, well, what does it mean? I should be able to know and tell you. It's a lot easier though when someone asks versus me just telling you. It's like being prompted to do something, I know how to respond back. Starting a lot of things on my own, difficult, but still doable. And I know that I still feel proud of myself. I'm sitting here doing this thing that I was aiming to do, and it's happening. And I feel like I can't say it enough. Although I've said it many times already, and it feels like it's getting repetitive. I would like to think of, oh, well, what's a new topic I want to be talking about? Like, if I want to pivot, it feels like, oh, well, I've kind of run down the beaten path, and this is something I've already talked enough about. What is a new thing that I would talk about? Right? Coming up with oh, well, as a streamer, and anyone who is a good streamer, they would be able to, like, switch subjects. Any good streamer, I shouldn't be labeling goods and bad judgments, because then once I say this is good and if I don't do it then therefore I am bad, that is the kind of thing that I should be avoiding. Right? I can identify that. I will see myself in a judgmental way and I need to move away from being judgmental. Recognize that when you call something good, that you are internalizing that when you aren't good, therefore by default everything else is bad. So like, oh, well, if you see that and define that as beautiful, and then you compare yourself to that and you are this and this is not beautiful. So I want to be able to do away with that kind of stuff. I want to be the kind of person where, irregardless of being told, I already want to internalize, I know that I am beautiful, and I want to internalize, well, I know I am confident about this thing and knowledgeable. I want to be someone who is willing to do the positive and quote unquote right thing. It's like if I ever see that I am faced between a decision of, oh, if I did this, it would kind of go down a bad path. If it did this, it would go down a good path. Like actively, when I am able to recognize that, I should be able to actively choose and commit to putting myself on that path that succeeds. That is a lot of what my life feels like. And, I didn't know that 3, 4, 5 years ago. Oh, I laughed. It was a really stupid laugh. Ignore it. If you can figure it out, you can figure it out. But I'm not gonna say it because it's really stupid. And when I say it's really stupid, I actually do legitimately mean it's really stupid. So moving on from here, then another next important point that I want to bring up is that, well, what will the fourth year look like? I've discussed a lot about what happened in the past 3 years. Maybe there's even more I want to talk about that, and maybe I come back to that later. But I have about 30 minutes more of putting myself to enduring this challenge that I set up for myself as my third year anniversary feels like, my third year anniversary feels like I put myself up for this challenge. And in this challenge of doing this for 2 hours, the 30 minutes I have left, I feel like I want to be doing the thing where I move toward the future. What is the plan that I have? Do I even have a plan? It would seem that, after I've been talking about this for an hour and 30 minutes, I would know more about what I want to be saying. And I do feel like I know more about what I want to be saying. Things with things in my fourth year, I have the intention of I'm going to go back on TikTok. I already have begun to go back into posting. I want to keep the bar low with less high of standards, because before I was all like, oh, this needs to be perfect. I need to put in like an hour of editing into like this 30-second short or something. Maybe it's not exactly like that, but it was kind of like that. And I'm all like, no, let's make things easy for me, and that's going to be helpful too. I want to remove barriers so that this path that I want to be going down is going to be achievable and easy. And that's going to be something that I feel confident will help me down later, both now and throughout the rest of my life. Is like being able to do this is going to scale up more. I'm gonna take all this stuff that I've been reflecting on, and I'm gonna keep that and move on through the rest of my life holding on to that. Can I let go of things that like were quote unquote bad habits? They were, as some people would say, target behaviors. I targeted a certain behavior that I know that I wanted to change because they were harmful. I no longer want to be doing the things that are harmful towards myself. I don't want anyone who in their life has like things that are harming them. I don't want you to feel like you're stuck in feeling harmed, and that, I went through it. And I know that was actually the main reason of why I streamed. It wasn't the games, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. The main reason why was I streaming is because I know things that if I said them and somebody heard it, it would be helpful. So the kinds of things that I've been saying right now, I genuinely believe that that is going to be helpful to you if it applies to you. Because when I did it for myself, it helped a lot. It helped tremendously. And I know that a lot of people don't have those kinds of resources available to them to learn how in the way that I learned it. But if I pass it down and help you, that I care about that the most. That's way better than having 100 million followers. That's way better than having one person talk in chat. Having one person talk in chat is a lot though. That's super insanely helpful, but that's sort of like something I appreciate now and a few times like later. But what I want most in the world, if I was going to put out this message, is that I care that you are doing something for yourself that you can identify where you're suffering and then choose to do something and navigate a way to suffer less from it. And I'm not saying that this is like a religious belief, but I know it is a belief and is one that I live my life by and I abide by this as best as I can is where am I suffering and how can I no longer suffer? When I identify suffering in someone else, is there something I can also do to help you not suffer? But if we're talking about what's gonna happen on my channel, so that is one of the main things is that can I put the bar very low and get back into posting, and then even if it's not very regular, it's become more regular but sustainably, not some people who force themselves to be regular and it's not sustainable. I want to take the most sustainable and safest and healthiest approach for myself into protecting and recuperating this thing that I love so dearly. Is that I have this and I do have the ability and the time to do this. I was like, it is my mission for in this 4th year, what can I get done in a year? And it's I feel like it could even be possible that what I do in my 4th year might even overcome what I did in my first 3 years. I think things are going to get better from here because now I know I'm actively trying to revive this. In my 3rd year of being this character, even though I stopped producing certain things, I never stopped being the person. I still care about this person and character that I am willing to work toward becoming more again. More of myself that feels like myself. There are people who are out there living their lives not feeling like themselves. Oh, I know that in my life, if I live an entire life of where I feel like I've always been myself, I never gave up on that, I would feel like I wouldn't have a regret if you there if I set aside streaming and maybe I was never even going to be a streamer when it counts as being a person is that I think about this a lot that when you are on your last days that you know that all the way up until then for as long as you could in the way that it was possible were you yourself? Because there's going to be people who are like, oh no, I gave up who I was for something else. Maybe it was valid for their reasons, but for me, I feel like I would be invalidating myself if I wasn't always staying truthful. And that was me choosing to remain truthful. I knew that it feels more validating for me to know I'm choosing to be truthful to myself and actively committing to it and achieving that. I succeed in that. Oh, it'd be so much easier if I was drinking this out of a straw. So, I have about 28 more minutes until I can finally hit end live. Finally hit stop recording. I am getting to that point where it's like, okay, I've said a lot of things, and that getting kind of antsy to like, oh, I want to start ending this. I want to start wrapping this up. And now it's gotten to the part of the stream where I'm all like, oh, have I said everything that I wanted to say? When's the next time I'm going to go live? I can't necessarily guarantee it. The goal is that after I end this live, there will be another time where I go live. And maybe by then, I've built, revitalized my TikTok account enough that I can direct people to where I'm going to be streaming, and that next time, you know, if today is the day where I feel like I'm starting from zero again, I know everything that I know from before, but the plan is that right now, while my numbers feel like they're at zero in terms of viewership or this and that, or like not very many followers and this and that, active followers. I'm not talking about people who I've impacted in the past. I'm talking about currently active following right now. Feels like I'm starting from very low on the ground. Not a negligible amount, but can what I do keep building on this with what I know, with what I knew I was able to do the first time, and the second time, and the third time? Can I do this a fourth time? I'd be really proud of myself to be able to do that a fourth time and to be more successful than the first three times. Because the second year wasn't as successful as the first, third year wasn't as successful as the second, but can the fourth year I still give myself this opportunity and chance to see if I can make my fourth year better than my first 3 years? That is what I am now setting my goal to be, is that I don't give up. Even though there are going to be a lot of people who are like the turnover rate. I don't want to become the statistic that falls under the, oh, well, after 2 years, you give up and stop. It's never too late to come back in this regard, where it's all like, I have control over this setting, and that I know that if I stop, it will stop. If I pick it up again, I won't necessarily know it will actually become, you know, this ideal. The ideal is that, oh, well, I will achieve that. I know that this is not going down a path of suffering, because I recognize that it is possible. There is actually a chance that me being open to this and then choosing to do it, there is a non-zero chance of me achieving this thing that I see is a possibility. There are many great things I've done in the past, and so even though they don't seem as great today, it doesn't invalidate the fact that back then they were extraordinary things. I am still that person who I had done those things. I no longer want to see myself as washed, because in other spaces I'm not washed, right? In other spaces I've achieved certain things and those are still ongoing. It's just that I want all of these images and different facets of my life to look like they project a more similar image. I feel very fractured in different parts, where it's all like, oh, well, this is going in this direction and this is going well, but this part, this core element, I feel like I want to bring that back again, and everything else will feel like it clicks back into place. Where I know that all the other pieces, they're going to fit into something if I build it right. I feel like I lost a lot of things at its core, but if I bring back the core, that all of these other pieces can fit. They won't necessarily fit in the same orientation as they did the first time, but I'm not going to push away the possibility that there's a new configuration where all of this works again, where you take all of these old pieces and combine them with something new and revitalizing this all together. So now that I've been talking about this for an hour and 37 minutes, is that I I I'm hitting a point where it's becoming difficult to keep explaining things. So this is again me battling this feeling of like unsureness, right? Like I can sound really sure, and it really all seemed, oh, this is, oh, very possible. Um, I still feel like I'm weighed down by doubt, the doubt that I want to be getting rid of. I feel today, right now in this moment, I still feel like I'm being weighed down by doubt. I know that if I'm looking in the future, I want to be in a place, and I know I can achieve this, is that I'm going to come and become a person who's not going to be weighed down by those doubts. But I have to be the one to do something about that. AI can't fix that. AI cannot fix those kinds of problems. Use AI this, AI that to patch up this and whatever that's broken in your life. It's not going to happen. That's what I like realize with like a lot of AI users is that they use it to get things done or use it to replace a lot of things, but there are some things it can never do, like fix your life in emotional and human ways it cannot understand, right? You especially can never use it as things like a therapist, and people like a therapist can tell you how to navigate your life in a way where they can instruct you, do this and it will be better, but it's far more nuanced and prescribed, and they are more in check than, AI running on the loose and telling you all these things of just what you want to hear. No, sometimes you need to hear the hard things. And AI is not going to tell you, hey, listen up, you're wrong. It's going to be all like, oh, well, this is correct. And if this is correct, and it's so agreeing with whatever you have to say. If you say, I have this correct idea, they're like, you're so right, that's correct. Someone else is going to tell you, that's not correct. So that's a huge, like, coin toss. You flip a coin and you're like, you might get something right, you might get something wrong, you will likely get something wrong. And while it can be correct, it's that, you cannot use it to rely on and fix some certain things. It's all like you in your life have to recognize when it takes a human and many humans and yourself as a human to identify and navigate your life to, I don't want to say perform, I want to say like you are the one who's capable of navigating your life. Especially when they're going to tell you like, oh, hey, like these people and resources are not always going to be there when you need them. You are going to be the person who is always there for yourself. Some days you're going to feel like, oh, I'm not there for myself. The goal is that you can return yourself to a position where you are there for you. That is something I've been working on for the past however many years now at this point, ever since I learned that idea. And this is an idea I'm teaching you to be mindful of, is that. Is that. I'm not going to repeat it. It's that. It's whatever I just said. Like, scroll back 1 minute ago. Like, it's that. I'm really grateful that I'm doing this live, but I'm also going to be so appreciative and thankful and grateful when this live ends. I've been torturing myself this entire time. I feel like it was the right thing to do because I've gained a lot of value out of this in a way that I wasn't expecting. That's what I feel like. If you do things, you could be setting yourself up for gaining value in ways you didn't expect. I know that that is a possibility. So that is why I keep doing these things, is because I'm always opening myself up to the possibility of what happens when you are open. I'm deciding to see if what are more important points I want to be talking about. So I don't have a hard set plan about what are exactly the things I'm going to post. Like, oh, in 1 month I gotta post this, and in 2 months I gotta post this. Again, it's still very freeform, but I see it as I go. when it comes to stepping stones, I don't lay them all out, because what if I go in the wrong direction? Like, I don't necessarily know that if I lay them out in that way and I take that direction, that it will take me to the goal correctly. Realistically, it's good to have those milestones, but that also, you can only take things one step at a time. So if you notice that you have to go in a different path because that path seems like more favorable to you, then I make a decision, okay, I'm going this way now. And I've been doing that a lot with my life. It hasn't necessarily steered me wrong. It feels like that has been the correct way to operate my life, because I'm operating in a way where I don't want to have regrets at the end of my life. And so, more of who I am that you will see in 2026 is, am I doing things where, if by achieving it, I will not have regrets at the end of my life? Had I not done it, would that mean that I'm going to regret not doing it? If that makes sense. It's like, when I see that I am faced with a decision between doing it and not doing it, and then I think about it, does not doing it mean I'm gonna regret it? So then I do the thing where I'm all like, I'm not gonna regret it, even if what I do, you choose to do that thing, and it leads to a positive or negative outcome, like a favorable or unfavorable outcome. I won't regret trying. I will still try. I encourage myself to keep falling into things. Sometimes you fall upwards. That's one of the ways I described it back in maybe another anniversary, another video from a long time ago, is continually falling upwards. You can fall, but you can also learn and grow from it, and then you are now ascending upwards. And if you choose to do nothing at all and keep avoiding things, you will be where you're at, but you'll never progress further. For me, I know that if I allow myself to fail, it usually comes with recognizing, oh, that was a failure, and now I can recalibrate and do something where, from having learned from that mistake, oh, now I can make more positive choices out of it. It's a net positive. There are still going to be negatives in my negatives, but there can be positives to be found. So I know, because there are positives to be found, I'm open to, oh, well, taking this path that seems like it's going to be unfavorable, but I still take it because it can result in something more favorable. I am almost free from this. You can hear that, like, oh, my body feels, and the way that my voice sounds is like, okay, I'm kind of getting to that point where I feel very fatigued. How come is it like I don't just get off right now? I could. Yeah, I'm getting even more antsy. So, like, I have snacks in my room. I'm currently in my office and not my room, and I know that I have snacks in my room, and the hungry part of my body is all like, you should end the live because you want to eat right now. Um, and that is a good point. When you're hungry, you are supposed to eat. I know that. I know that much. So I know I'm going to be so desperate for food after I while I'm doing this. Just know that I am quite hungry, but also know that when this stream ends, I'm immediately getting food. Normally, I'm someone who can eat food on stream, but the food I want to eat is crunchy, and that I feel like I'll save for another day. Is like specifically a day where it's a stream about eating food. I'm not saying necessarily a mukbang, but that, I have this segment called Munch with the Bunch, and you are the bunch, and we munch, and it is like a Zatsu, except the idea is that, oh, we just sit communally and eat together, and it's nice because we're eating and sharing it together. Even if you are sitting in your room alone and you are eating food, but when you're here, we're together. And so I love things like parallel play. So, in things that you could be looking forward from me is opportunities to parallel play so that when you're beside me, that my influence gets rubbed off on you, and then that's when you start to feel like, oh hey, there's this good influence in my life, and I care a lot about if you can feel that. I know that I have done my job, and my goal as a streamer is that you are I'm getting to a point where I can't speak anymore. So I'm still, if you can still understand what I'm talking about, if I can still understand what I'm talking about, I'm pushing through. I'm pushing through. I'm pushing through. This is just a very honest reflection of me. All of this is a very like very realistic depiction of someone who is what happens when everything that they faced in life and now they're doing this and it's their 3rd year anniversary, and because of the place that they're in, that when they set up to do a 2-hour stream on this day, or what resulted in the day after of the day they were planning to do it, like, this is a very realistic depiction of I'm so hungry. You could tell I'm just so very human, even though I'm a VTuber, but I'm so very human. And that I I have 10 minutes left. I care about anybody who watched to this end of the stream. You were in the last 10-minute home run stretch, okay? You can make it through. Both of us can make it through. And so, if what could make me the happiest in the world is that I am a streamer, and the community that is around me as they are, and who you are when you're around me, you know, the way that you conduct yourself, the way you think about yourself, the way you interact with others. The best thing that I want out of this, oh, my my tracking is tracking is hard. Don't think about it. uh I would want people to feel better in themselves, understand where you're suffering. Like, if I am a streamer, this is the impact I want to have on people who watch and interact with my streams, is how do you be better for yourself? How do you be better for others? How do you teach yourself to learn? How do you use your skills that you have? How do you elevate yourself more in life? And I know that that's not possible for everyone in the state that they are currently in, but that if by being with me helps you get to a point where you are now more capable of that kind of stuff, then I know that that is the goal of what I'm going for as a streamer. Whether or not that's corporate, whether or not that's indie, at the heart of my streaming is I want you to be able to be in a better place for yourself. Now, I'm not some magical being because I can always let you know about those things. It is you who takes those things and betters your life. And hopefully, I was an influence to help you do that, and an encouragement and a voice to get you to, for you to do that for yourself. I ultimately can't do it for you. That's the hardest thing that anyone has to learn, is that you do things for you. And that is the message that you need to know, and that is a message you need to carry with for the entirety of your life. And also that when you grow up and knowing that kind of thing, that when you see someone struggling with that, you can also have the capacity to help them to find their way. Not that you have a responsibility, but that if you found yourself in that situation, could you be able to act? Because what if you are in a place of suffering and not knowing and not self-bettering, and you see someone in a similar position, both of you can't even help each other because you wouldn't even know how. So I do this so that you can do that for someone else later. And that is what it means to be Cygnus, Sono Lumen, infamous celestial swan of sound and light, the catalyst, is that I affect you who affects others. I do not affect everybody. I affect you who affects others. That is my position on earth. That is my duty as who I am and what I uphold as a streamer. Because I already know all of these things. I am still discovering them as I go. But as I go, I'm also letting you know those things. And what's really interesting is that I used to record myself doing like theoretical audition takes. If I happen to maybe apply for somewhere, and that hopefully if I say this, it's not shooting myself in the foot for what if I wanted a corporate job and to do these things, and then me saying this and putting it online, they're all like, nope, sorry, we will never take you. But what if everything I said before it was so good, you have to take me? You're like, wow, we actually do want you. You are the kind of good person in this world who gets it, what it means to be more than just a streamer, who knows that they have a drive to be passionate for human life and humanity and having a good impact, having a message, knowing that they have a message, willing to share that with people, being an example. So when I set the example, you learn from it and you do it too. Maybe even the people reviewing this clip for the application, they're all like, wow, I just learned something from this person today. And I didn't even think that that was possible for me to learn. I thought this is the way that life should be conducted. And then what I'm saying for towards you, you are now realizing, oh, I could also incorporate this worldview of theirs into my life because it is shown to be positively affecting. Maybe, I'm thinking that the people who judge these applications, they're also not in a perfect place in their life either. They're learning from these people that they're picking, and they're all like, oh, well, I find that this person is going to be a useful asset to the company because I could tell that what they said affected me in the ways that I am missing certain things in my life. I think that connections happen between people who find something that they're missing. They might feel like they're missing this. Oh, so specific, but insert this here. You are missing a this, and they have a that, and you want that to become your this that you are missing. And this is probably the most compelling thing I could ever try to argue of like, how can I get myself into a company is if I put this foot forward and show you this person. This is who I am as a streamer. And hi, oh my god. Okay, craziest thing. You're the first person to comment, and I am 1 hour and 57 minutes into the live. Do you know how embarrassed I feel? Do you know how difficult it has been to stream to nobody commenting for 2 hours? I was just on my last legs of wanting to give up on this stream after 2 hours. I was going to push myself to get to 2 hours. You made it before the 2 hour mark where I was going to end the stream. I was so close to ending the stream, and you just saved me, okay? You just saved me. Okay, on your word, do you want me to continue the live past the 2 hour mark? I will continue so long as you are requesting it. If not, I'm going to end the live in 2 minutes because I said at the 2 hour mark I was going to stop because I am hungry. However, if you want me to keep going, I'm just going to grab a snack and I'm going to sit here and eat it and we can talk. How are you doing today? My mood flipped at a 180, okay? Do you know how like crazy it was for like the little notification to just go like boop? That's crazy because I saw your stream, but I was just going to join when I actually got up for school in like 30 minutes. Okay. So when do you have school? Like how much time do you have until you have to leave for like your transportation to get to class? I'm like trying to make a judgment here. Don't mind my model, I'm just drinking water. Okay, I will give you time to reply. I'm going to go get a snack because I feel like I've caught my second wind, okay? I feel like I've proven my point. I have to leave at like 7:55. I forgot what time zone you're in. I bought a new bag of chips of a flavor I've never eaten before. Apologies for my model when I leave the... Hi, welcome back. Hello. Okay, so you have to leave at 7:55, and... The thing is that it is 2:50 a.m. PST. I do not know when 7:55 of your time zone is in relation to me. So we have now passed the 2-hour threshold, and I have a bag of chips. I'm just gonna... This is really loud. I apologize for your ears. Okay, I've never eaten these chips before, but I'm gonna see if they're good or not. Your EST, it's currently 5:51 for you. You got it for school. You gotta leave in 2 hours. Okay, got it. I'm not sure I can push my stream all the way to a total of 4 hours. I feel like I'm gonna need more people and encouragement for that. But you have bought yourself 30 minutes with me before I feel like, okay, I definitely have to leave. How are you? How's school? I can finally ask someone a question. Oh my god. I'm thankful that you're here because I get to feel so happy that someone showed up. Sorry, my model's twitching out, but... Oh my god. So, I am... Again, I will... Let me, relist the VOD. So it's currently... I set it up so that after the stream ends, the VOD is not gonna go up. It's gonna be unlisted, but I can go into my settings right now, and I will, because someone showed up to the stream, I will set the VOD to upload after, if I know how to do that, which I hope that I do. I'm happy you're streaming because literally no one else is awake right now. Oh, I know. Trust me, I know no one else is awake right now, okay? Who do you think I've been talking to? Nobody. How do I do this? How do I... Maybe it's a different button. Unlist live. Okay, unlist. Okay, so I had it set to unlist live replay once stream ends, but I toggled it off. So now that when live ends, VOD will be listed. Nailed it. Oh my god. Oh, I feel so relieved. I can finally like feel like I have a breath now. I'm like, oh my god. I had so much anxiety. I was all like, I had to be okay with no one being here, but me still streaming publicly. I felt so embarrassed. Oh my god, but I'm okay about talking about feeling like I was embarrassed because now I have someone here. I'm so relieved. You have saved me. You are my savior, Live Loves. You are definitely Live and Loves, okay? You live and you loves. Are you eating an orange perchance? No, these are lentil chips. I have no oranges in the house, and when? I need to look up when is orange fruit season. Late fall to early spring with peak flavor from December to March. Oh, so oranges are gonna like begin. Okay, so it is now the beginning of orange season. Good to know. The apple or orange challenge will haunt me forever. Oh yeah, so you were referring back to when I used to stream, I would go and I would bring a snack with me to the stream and eat it. You got it wrong like every time. Yeah, I would like I'm it it's like it's funny to me that like that's something that affected you. It was such a silly bit for me to like just grab a random fruit that was in my kitchen downstairs, and when I brought it upstairs and I started the stream, I set everything up, I started live, and I would eat food. And people were like, "Oh, hey, Sai, what are you eating?" And I was all like, "Oh, guess what color apple it is? Red apple or green apple?" And people would be like, "Purple." I was like, "Yeah, you're gonna get it wrong if you say purple." So, hopefully, maybe next time I come back on lives, I stream again. I bring a fruit. I do the thing like I did before. And now my new goal is we're going to keep streaming and trying again until you finally get it right for once. I don't mean that in a bad way. But I'm here to celebrate you in that, we're going to keep trying until there is that chance where you happen to get it right. It is not necessarily like a skill to be able to guess red or green, or yellow. That's a funny thing, is that like people are like, "Oh my god, the apple is red or green," and then I was eating a yellow apple. Here's just the funny thing: you probably shouldn't guess green because I typically don't eat green apples. I eat red or yellow apples, but there are rare instances where I do eat a green apple. So I'm just saying, if you want the best odds, go with red or yellow first. However, if I know I it it's just that like if I happen to have a green apple though, I will be eating a green apple. So maybe you'll still get it wrong. But you know what? I'm going to keep going back onto YouTube specifically so that when I bring an apple onto stream and I eat it and you want to guess what color is the apple, do not say banana. You will absolutely lose if you say banana because it's never a banana. I hate bananas. I know other people who hate bananas. I feel happy to hear when other people say, "Oh, I don't really like bananas." I was like, "You're so right. You're so right for that." Okay, there are people who love bananas, and that's fine. You can love a banana, but there is something that goes goes on between two people whose like brain cells connect when they say, "I don't like bananas." Oh my god, you too? You don't like bananas either? You feel a little less crazy because everyone's all like, "Oh my god, are you bananas for not liking bananas?" I'll eat a banana on occasion, but I hate banana flavored candy. You are so right. I also hate banana flavored candy, and that might be one of the reasons why I don't even like bananas in the first place. Banana flavored candy sucks. Anyone who genuinely likes it doesn't know what a banana tastes like. On the list of flavors I don't like, candy corn, butter jelly beans, orange flavored chocolate, a banana. The way that spinach makes my teeth feel. Those are some foods that I dislike for either their flavor or their feeling. I apologize. My neck looked like it snapped in half. It's because I'm not drinking out of a straw. Anyway, same with grapes. I've single-handedly eaten a whole bag of green grapes by myself in one night. But I hate grape flavored things. Okay, I was waiting for you to follow up with like with a passion. Okay, I was like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say here. And then you sent the second comment. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So yes, I love grapes. I do like grape flavored things. I will say that I do like grape flavored things, and I really love grapes. I feel so glad that I can now sit in stillness, and it feels so peaceful, because earlier I felt like, okay, I have to keep talking. I have to keep talking because people are always like, there should not be silence in your stream, for the most part, if it's like a talking stream. But that now that someone's here to do the talking for me, I'm okay with like pauses of silence. I can feel at ease in them. Makes me happy. My cousin's dumb alarm has been going off for the past 10 minutes. I can't, bro. No, honestly, okay, that pisses me a lot, okay? It pisses me off so much that someone sets an alarm and you are the one that wakes up, and they let it ring for like 10 minutes because they don't wake up because they're just so asleep. And man, this has happened to me on many occasions, whether it was or wasn't my roommate. I will not disclose, but in any kind of instance, when it comes down to if you are going to be near someone where they can hear your phone and you have an alarm that goes off and you wake up them, oh my god, oh my god, if you wake me up, I want my precious sleep back, okay? I was like, how dare you rob me of my sleep when you're the one who this alarm is for? And you dare not even wake up. Oh, by the way, Live Loves. I don't know if you saw from the title of the stream, it should be obvious, but that today is today is the day after my 3rd year anniversary. Whee! Yay. My mouth tracking sucks now, but I'm trying to get my mouth tracking to work again. Oopsie. But yay. This feels like a really good start to the beginning of my 4th year of streaming. Is that now that I've done 3 years, yeah, happy 3rd year anniversary, Sai. Yeah, that's me. I'm Sai. I'm 3 years old. I'm gonna give up on tracking. If the tracking doesn't move, the tracking doesn't move. You could just like squint really hard and pretend that I'm speaking. You can hear me speak. You can just close your eyes and just listen to the sound. And it's kind of like the ventriloquist dummy, where it's all like, you can hear something, but how come the puppet is not talking? You're just a really bad ventriloquist, okay? I feel like I'm supposed to eat this with dip. I'm gonna go get dip, okay? Talk amongst your singular self. If someone else comes in, tell them hi. Tell them I'm gonna be back. The odds are unlikely that someone else is going to walk into this stream at 3 a.m. PST in the morning or 6 a.m. EST on the other coast, I'm gonna get dip. Sorry if my model looks weird while I'm gone. I'm back. I have dip. Yeah. Hello. I'm gonna repossess my skin suit again. Yeah, okay. Ah, yes, hello, me. How are you? Hi, me. I'm doing great. Thank you for following the bit. That is hilarious. See, I don't need to be the one who talks. It can be you who talks to yourself. Do you understand how I feel now? Do people understand? That's what it felt like for me to be talking to myself for 2 hours. I'm still traumatized. I traumatized myself. I have no one else to blame but myself. But, oh my god. Yeah. It's so much better with dip. I have a suspicion that... Okay, I'm gonna open Discord because my friend usually messages me around 6... like 6 or 7 a.m. their time, which is like my 3... I don't know. I'm just gonna have Discord open just in case. I don't know if this is gonna like blow everything up. I don't even know if Discord's gonna open properly. Who knows? Okay, something I just realized. I won't say it, but I just realized something. I'll say that I realized something. Hi me, I'm doing great. See, exactly. I mean, it doesn't even need to be in my stream. You could still, like, do that on a regular day. You could just talk to yourself, normalize talking to yourself, being all like, "Hello, me. How are you?" Yes. Hi, me. I'm doing great. You're not gonna look crazy at all. Who would ever think that you're crazy if you talk to yourself? You know? I talk to myself all the time, just in my head. Exactly. Okay, when you go back to watch this stream, like after the stream ends, and you go back and watch the VOD, that is something I was talking about earlier in this stream, was it is different. It is a different feeling, and I am feeling that when on the stream I talk and I'm talking into a void, but I'm talking technically kind of like toward an audience, or what would have what where toward like an audience that there would be, and versus me on a regular day-to-day basis. I talk to myself all the time. However, it is just my inner thoughts. I never say it out loud. Okay. I don't know if Discord is opening properly on my desktop because I clicked on it and it's not opening. So if my friend messages me, it will probably show up on my phone. And then if they do message me, being all like, hi, good morning, or whatever, they know that I'm awake at the most degen hours. And these hours are the degen hours, okay? And my friend told me that if I was streaming, that I should tell them that, hey, like, I'm streaming. They would want to know that when I go live, that, they would like to be invited to see if they want to come sit in, like, the chat. Okay, I need to close this out. Hope nothing breaks. Okay, there's that. Okay. If I said half of my inner thoughts, someone would send me to an institution ward. Oh, honestly. uh, we're just a little silly sometimes, just certain kinds of thoughts. Okay, but maybe, and here's to hoping that when you go back and watch the VOD, that your inner thoughts are going to change after you, like, I hope that those previous 2 hours are a life changing, like, 2 hours of, like, listening to me say things. Like, I will have said things for 2 hours that you don't know about. And then once you discover or get to experience the things that I was talking about for the past 2 hours, the prior 2 hours, I hope that you can grow as a person and understand the message I was trying to say. Like, please, if you could do me the kindest favor, go back, watch the VOD, and tell me, like, what, okay, yeah, maybe, like, wait until tomorrow or whenever, next, whenever. I will gladly watch your video, though, or VOD. Thank you. Oh my god. Okay, but yes, if you can, leave a comment. You don't have to, but I would be super thankful if, like, after you watch the VOD and get an impression of the things that I was talking about, that it would mean a lot if you leave a comment and talk about, like, oh, like, it made you reflect on your life. That's really what I'm hoping for. Like, if any of this all had a point, it was to achieve that. Sigh, I'm going to go in like 5 minutes because I would like to actually sleep before I must be awake. Okay, yes, thank you. And if you could stick with me for, like, I don't even know however much longer. Okay, so here's the thing, is that my clocks are, like, a little bit not synced. Like, the YouTube clock, for whatever reason, says I've been live longer than OBS says I've been live. So when I've been saying certain times, I was going based off of this clock and not that clock. And that right now I'm looking at the timer. And so when I say this next thing, just know that this is in relation to the clock that I'm seeing versus the clock that you might be seeing at, like, the bottom of the VOD. And what I'm going to say is something that only a few people are going to understand. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. There, I did it. I did it again. I don't know for how many other people who were in the live for, like, the other times I was streaming, when the clock hits 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I like to point it out. It's just funny. It's just a running joke that I do this, like, whenever I can. If I happen to see it, I was, like, anticipating it. I saw the clock at, like, 2:18. And this is according to my stream clock, not the VOD clock, because the VOD clock might be different. I'm just going off the clock on my phone. So for me, it's all like when I start the live, it starts at 0, is the thing. So you can leave anytime. Once you say goodbye, I'll end the live there. I probably won't go off. I won't go on further than that. I think I think the stream that I streamed has proven the point that I needed to prove. So it's a timer, not a clock. Yeah, pretty much. So it's a timer that just shows me how long is the recording. Kind of like when you go on your phone and you turn on the camera and you click video record, and it shows you, it starts from 0 and it counts up and it shows you how long you've been recording for. That is the clock I am referring to. Or a stopwatch or whatever. It's like a stopwatch in that when I click stop, that the stream will stop. Like I can stop the recording. It is in a way like a stopwatch, but a little bit different. Like if we were to get down to the very nitty gritty, like a timer technically counts down, which in OBS you can actually set in your settings. You can set like a max length, and the video will automatically cut out when like you hit a certain amount of time that you set. A stopwatch counts up to like see how fast something was and being all like, oh, 5 minutes have passed. A timer is counting down, okay, in 5 minutes something, stops. A clock is technically, it just tells time, but you get the idea of like numbers. Unrelated, but I am so incredibly cold and I have 2 pajama sets on and 3 blankets on me and a heated blanket. Damn, that's more than me. You must be very cold. Because like for me, even though it's like cold, I will sometimes just suffer through the cold. And when I have like a heated blanket, I don't even crank it up to max. I don't even wear like the warmest clothes going to bed. It's like sometimes it's like I put myself out in like colder weather and then like to feel something, okay? Like I hate the cold so much. It's your biggest op. Okay, I'm going to take my freezing, sleep deprived self back to bed now, Sai. Thank you so much for showing up. This has been a really great experience for me, and you legitimately like helped make my 3rd year anniversary just very meaningful. So, goodbye. See you later. And good night.